please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hi, very good morning. You're watching Trading Hour on CNBC TV 18. I'm Ekta Batra. With me is Prashant Nair, and it's turning out to be a bit of a sluggish session for us. So we're down around 0.5% currently for the Nifty as well as the Sensex. And the key culprit seems to be what's happening with the global space. We have the entire global Asian screen, which is weak this morning, courtesy the US markets and the kind of hawkish statements that came out from the Fed chief. And separately, it is definitely what's happening with the banks and PNB and the entire fraud which continues to weigh in terms of sentiment. You're seeing the Nifty bank down for the second consecutive day. So the bank Nifty is currently down around 1%. A lot of stocks to focus on, however, and we will be discussing that. For example, PNB, which is down, which has actually recovered from the day's low. So that stock is down 1% as opposed to a 4% fall that we had seen earlier. Fortis, which has that board meet today for its Q2 and Q3 numbers, and Cipla, which is gaining on the back of an agreement with Roche for 2 of their drugs in the Indian market. So that stock too is seeing some amount of traction. Hi, Prashant.
Ekta, I mean, actually, as you said, good morning. The point is, I think PNB, if you can have the intraday up, that is an interesting kind of move on the PNB stock. From the lows, it's actually come up quite a bit. I mean, I think it got to about 93 or so, 92.5, 93, which was the day's low. From there, it's come up. It's down about 1.25%. And if you can then have the Nifty PSU Bank Index, you'd see the same kind of movement. You know, the low today, which by the way broke the low which was made on the 19th of February, was 2,975, 2,975. From there, we've bounced about what 70, 75 odd points or so. So that is what, about 2% odd, 2% plus kind of bounce from the day's low on the Nifty PSU Bank Index itself. So watch the space. Maybe there is some buying which returns after getting smashed so much last few days, last 2 days in particular. But that's an important space. I mean, in terms of weight, it won't decide much, but sentiment-wise, it will decide a fair bit. Sudarshan Sukhani is with us of S2Analytics.com. He's joining us on the top as always. Sudarshan, morning. What would you be doing? The market has recovered a bit, but still down about 50, 55 points on the Nifty.
Good morning. In the morning, I suggest, see, at least one thing is now clear. We are in a well-defined trading range. Yesterday, the boundaries of the range on the upper side were defined somewhere around 10,630 and the lower end is 10,300. See, Prashant, inside a trading range, any trading range, market trading is almost random. That's why a trading range develops, because traders do not know the direction in which the markets will eventually go. So a gap down today was actually a buying opportunity only for intraday traders. So the trade today in the Nifty is, even at current levels, consider going long in the Nifty just for intraday trading with a stop of about 30 points, somewhere around 10,480 for the futures.
Okay, and stocks, Sudarshan?
Well, because I think there is an intraday rally still in the offing, my stocks are also on the buy side. All trades are intraday. In a trading range, there is no need to carry positions. Tomorrow may be a gap up which could fall during the day. So just trade intraday. Apollo Tyres is a buying opportunity. The stock was trading at the highs of the day and it's also higher than yesterday. Similarly, Ashok Leyland, it's a remarkable stock. It's at lifetime new highs. Now we want to respect lifetime new highs and buy them whenever they are available. That's available today and I'm a buyer in Ashok Leyland. I would suggest buying. And Engineers India was a stock that had gone through a deep correction, is now building a base and outperforming. So there are 3 buy ideas, all for today. Okay,
Sudarshan, we will speak with you soon again. Thanks very much for that. Appreciate you talking to us with that setup. I think we also have some F&O strategies coming in from Yogesh Mehta of Motilal Oswal. Yogesh, good morning. What would you be advising?
Hi Prashant, good morning. Since markets are very much choppy as mentioned by Sir, then we are looking at 10,400 to 10,650 as a market range for today and tomorrow as well, because there is no direction for the market. But yeah, stock specific, there are some opportunities where Tech Mahindra is one which is quoting at 616 in F&O segment currently. One can vouch for buying this in F&O segment with a stop loss of 605 and projecting price target of 635. The other one which we are recommending is Reliance Industries. Yesterday in this yesterday's fall, it was reluctant to go down, keeping a stop loss of 942. Current price is 953, and target could be around 975 on the buy side. And Bharti Airtel, 431.5 is the current price in future segment, keeping a small stop loss of 424. Target could be in the range of 448 to 450 range.
Okay, all right, Yogesh, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and talking to us. Well, some statements which have come in from P. Chidambaram with regards to Karti Chidambaram and his arrest. So that's flashing on your screen, where the government is using CBI, other agencies to target his son.
The market is down, but there is recovery, as I said, and I think the space to really watch out for is going to be the PSU Bank space, which has come up. I mean, quite a bit. As I said, the PSU Bank Nifty, the PSU Bank index is up about 2% from the day's low. It's down about 0.6%, was a lot worse earlier. My colleague Jude is with us. You're seeing these statements coming in from P. Chidambaram on essentially talking about the arrest of Karti Chidambaram, which took place earlier. Jude is on location, and he's going to give us what he's picking up from people there, people he's been speaking with. Jude, good morning. Take it away.
Morning, Prashant. So first things first, what we are given to understand is that Karti Chidambaram was apprehended by the CBI on arrival from London at the Chennai International Airport. We are told he has already left on a 10:40 a.m. flight on bound to Delhi. We are given to understand he will be produced before a CBI court at around 2 p.m. at the Patiala House Court, of course. This is pertaining, of course, to the INX media case, in which an FIR was filed a while ago. But reacting to the arrest, P. Chidambaram has stated what he has been maintaining over the past every time this case has cropped up, that the arrest itself is a case of political vendetta by the BJP government against both him and his son. It is an attempt, he alleges, to silence Chidambaram, who is known to be very vocal with regard to his criticism of the BJP, with regard to his criticism of the policies of the current NDA government. So he's alleging it is a witch hunt itself. But just to give you a little bit of perspective, when a writ petition was filed by Chidambaram in the Supreme Court a few days ago, the arrest, remember, comes within days after Chidambaram filed that writ petition, where he alleged that his family was being harassed, where he made sure and minced no words in stating that he had nothing to do with the INX media case. Neither him nor any member of his family was, had anything to do. No member of his family was in touch with finance ministry officials at the time that Chidambaram was finance minister. He also goes on to state that by way of this, his family is not involved in any way whatsoever to the case, and therefore he says in conclusion the ED cannot continue to issue repeated summons to Karti Chidambaram, who is of course Chidambaram's son. However, the arrest coming just days after that petition was filed is a clear indication that the war between Chidambaram and the NDA government is well and fully on. Prashant.
Okay, all right, Jude. Thanks very much for that. So we're going to keep getting you updates with regards to what's going to happen with that. And Karti Chidambaram is likely to, be featured in the CBI court at 2 p.m. this afternoon. So that's a story that we're going to continue tracking. But let's get back and let's in fact talk about the commodity and the currency space. We have Manisha Gupta joining in to tell us what she's tracking there. Manisha, over to you.
Thank you so much for that, Ekta. Well, there's plenty numbers that have come in from the government in sense of the second advanced estimates for crops for 2017-18. And the numbers do look quite bullish when you look at the crop estimates right now. So we are looking at a food grain of 277.49 million tons. It's an all-time high, and it's a back-to-back third time that you are looking at a record high food grain number there. If you look at a breakup right now, then that's exactly what we are looking at for the major crops as well. It is a record crop when you look at rice, for coarse cereals, for maize as well. Wheat, of course, has seen a bit of a slippage coming in as per the last estimate and as per the last year's record high output as well. That, of course, is because you have seen the land under sowing area go down. There have been some weather concerns as well coming in for wheat, and that's taken the output down to 97.1. Last year was 98.5. So from that number, we are nearly 3.7 million tons on the lower side. But all the other crops really are pretty much on the higher side, especially pulses. Remember, remember, we have seen the MSP, the prices trade well below MSP onto that one. And this number now, where you are looking at the pulses crop much higher as compared to last year and the first advance estimates as well, there is pressure coming back in for those prices also. Of course, the sugar crop is looking quite well. So is the case with cotton, etc. It is the edible oil space where you could be looking at some concerns, because we are looking at a lower crop when it comes to mustard, soybean, groundnut, etc. as compared to last year. But overall, food grains, rice, coarse cereals, the numbers that matter the most, of course, are pretty much on the higher side there. But let's talk more about the prices onto that one. Joining us now is Aurobindo Gayan with his strategies on the agri and the non-agri space as well. Aurobindo, hi, good to have you. First of all, what's your sense on the second advanced government estimate numbers, and which one are you really picking up in sense of strategy there?
I would say all these numbers are all looking good, except that what you mentioned about the wheat. I think, in fact, according to us, 97 seems to be still higher in terms of production number estimation for this year. So I think looking at the market estimates and the crop survey that we would have done it, I'm sure the crop numbers of wheat should come down even more below around 95 plus kind of million tons of production. That is, if that is kind of scenario, I'm sure wheat prices are going to go up, and already we have seen a good amount of price rally in the wheat prices, both at domestic and futures market. So I think spot and futures market. So I think wheat is something that I'm looking at predominantly a bullish trend to continue in the short to medium term. And rest of the commodities numbers are looking better. And especially if I would talk on the cotton side, I'm sure the numbers which we are earlier estimated to be around 365 or 385 rather has actually brought down to 365. In fact, the government estimation is showing that 335 around. So I think we'll have a little difference of opinion here, and we believe that cotton production could be around 365 or 367 lakh bales. So broadly, two commodities that I would like to emphasize here. Wheat is likely to remain onto the positive trend, while cotton production is still higher this year vis-a-vis the previous 2 years. So I think that is why we can see cotton prices probably can soften going forward in the medium term.
All right, one bullish and bearish commodity coming in for the agro space. But also, how are you looking at the non-agri space, where we have seen quite a bit of a sell-off in the gold and silver prices, and there is pressure in the industrial metal space as well today?
I think it's purely a dollar play, and yesterday's Jerome Powell's testimony has brought down the market substantially. Of course, I would not comment it as a reason, but then I'm sure the effect on dollar has been seen above going 90.50 around, so, and the commodities prices have actually declined substantially. So I think with the follow-through momentum, some more correction in gold, silver prices could be seen. And from the technical perspective, I would say $1360 has not been broken for the last 2 months of this year, and hence we are seeing good amount of price correction. So I think $1,300 is something on the card, and in the short term we could see gold prices coming down towards $1,300 as well. So Indian market, which was around 30,600 rupees, has come down to 30,300. In fact, we see that it can even come down to test the 30,000 levels in the near term. So broadly, we'll go short in gold and silver in the near term at the futures market.
Okay, all right, Aurobindo as well as Manisha, thanks very much for joining in and bringing us that update in terms of the commodity space. For the Bank Nifty, we're still down around 1.2%. For the Nifty, we're just about testing 10,500. We're probably just about going to slip below that level as well for the Nifty. So do watch out for that. And it is rather an Asian screen which is pressured as well. So, for example, the Hang Seng, which is down over 400 odd points. We have the Kospi, which is down 26 odd points, and the Nikkei, which is down, which is the Japanese markets, which is down over 200 odd points, and the Shanghai markets, as you can see on your screen. So, step in step in terms of what's happening with the global space, but the Bank Nifty continues to underperform.
So 50 points lower on the Nifty. We're at 10,500 at the market. Of course, attention has been focused on banks all through the last many trading sessions now, and public sector banks continue to recover a little bit. Mid-cap index is flat. Mid-caps, of course, lost a lot more compared to large caps yesterday, and there are these pockets of interest. One stock which, of course, has seen a fair bit of interest has been Fortis. I mean, the stock was around 150 before, till the end of last year, used to trade at 150, 155 as coming into this year. Then there was this correction which started late January. The stock fell to 110 odd rupees and is basically back to about 160 now. Remember, there is, of course, the expectation that Fortis is going to release its results for the last 2 quarters today. There is a board meeting today, and as part of that, we may expect this. Ekta is going to run us through what else can we expect? Ekta.
Well, the board meet is for the numbers today, and I just want to give a bit of a background. The reason why that is the case is because they've delayed their Q3 numbers from the scheduled board meet, which was on the 13th of Feb. So this is the second time that they've delayed the numbers. First, the Q2 numbers, which were expected to be released on the 14th of November, got delayed, and now the Q3 numbers, which were expected to be released on the 13th of Feb, have now been delayed to the 28th, which is today. So both Q2 as well as Q3 should be out today. The reason for that is that, and these are reports doing the rounds, that there was some concern that the auditors, Deloitte in this case, had refused to sign off on the numbers. Plus, there are reports of the promoters siphoning off 500 odd crores, and allegedly this 500 odd crores was reported on the balance sheet but routed and placed under the Singh brothers' control. The brothers apparently, or the promoters, are working to pay back this loan. So what we can expect today is basically an auditor's report qualifying this particular loan which is taken and any sort of incremental statements on that. Fortis additionally has said that they are not part of the ongoing proceedings in the Delhi High Court. So that would be a little bit of a sentiment positive. The street already knew that, but this is clarification which is coming from the promoters themselves, so, or rather from Fortis themselves. So this is interesting. This today's board meet will be crucial in terms of determining what the auditors think of the numbers and what the Q2 and Q3 performance looks like as well.
Okay, by the way, Fortis's low today was about 153 odd rupees or so. It's come up to about 160 rupees. So it's been typical now. It starts lower and it gets bought into pretty quickly. So keep an eye out on the board meet, expected to be post-market hours, the decision expected post-market hours. All right, there's a news flash at the bottom of your screen, and this is with regards to Reliance Capital's efforts to start a health insurance venture, health insurance company. We understand that IRDA, the insurance regulator, is held back issuance of the final approval. The final approval, there are a couple of approvals, they've got a few, but the final approval has been held back because the parent is yet to submit some important documents, some approvals from other regulators. Yash is here with that story. Yash, morning. Take it away.
Morning, Prashant. Let's just first understand at what stage Reliance Health approval process has reached so far. So in September 2017, they received their R1 or the first level approval, and in December 2017, they received the R2 or the second level approval from the insurance regulator, which means that they have 2 out of total 3 approvals required to start their health insurance operations. Now, what we're given to understand here is that the insurance regulator IRDA has held the issuance of the final approval, which is R3, which will be required for the company to to initiate the health insurance operations. Now, why has IRDA held this 3rd level of the final approval? What we're given to understand is that that has happened because Reliance Capital, which is the parent company of Reliance Health Insurance, is yet to receive the CIC nod or the CIC license, which is the core investment company license from the Reserve Bank of India. What is a CIC license? Essentially, Reliance Capital as a company has investments in approximately 20 companies from diverse sectors, and for a company like that, IRBI mandates such companies to put these investments into a core investment company model so that any potential threat from such investment does not take a toll or does not impact the capital at the NBFC business or the 2 existing life and general insurance business, and that particular license is yet to come in from the Reserve Bank of India end. Here what I'm given to understand is that IRDA is very firm on its stand that till the time Reliance Capital does not submit this CIC license or the core investment company license, it will not issue the final approval, which will be of course a precondition for Reliance Health to start its business operations.
Yash, thanks very much for that. So keep an eye out of that space, and Yash will keep you on top of that story as it progresses. Reliance Capital at about 477 rupees, trading flat in the green. Let's bring in Ashwini Gujral, who's with us now, as always, for his check on the market. Ashwini, thanks for joining in. First of all, your reading of how the market is behaving so far?
See, everybody seems to be talking about PSU banks, but nobody has been able to explain to me why ICICI Bank is down 3%, HDFC Bank is down 1%, Yes Bank is down 2.25%, and Axis Bank is down 1%. So I think there is a consistent derating and the overweight financial position is coming off. This should be clear, these intraday rallies notwithstanding. And PSU banks, whatever recovery has happened from the lows, is likely to get sold into again, and they will make fresh lows. Right now is a good time. A lot of them are down now only 1%. So that way I think financials is the problem area, and people will reduce their weightages, particularly on banks as far as I can see. IT will be a counterweight, but not to the extent of compensating what banks lose out. So that way, the market is not looking like fairly strong, or it could cross 10,600 at any point. In fact, for an intraday basis, even now getting short on Nifty, Bank Nifty is a good idea. Having said that, PNB is a sell with a stop of 98, target of 93. Yes Bank is a sell with a stop of 323, target of 308. And Jubilant Food is a buy with a stop of 2000, target of 2150.
What about the likes of HDFC and HDFC Bank in this market? Both down today. Ashwini?
See, there was a time when there was no sector like pharma, Lupin, Sun, and suddenly something hit them and the weightage came off. They all started to decline. Now chances are nobody has a lot of pharma. These are cycles. Last couple of years, banks, NBFCs, people bought them like there was no business like this. Now when this sort of uncertainty, and this is a prolonged one, nobody knows how much is the book, what kind of curbs government will come with, etc., etc. I think the weightage of this sector will come off. So whether it's HDFC or HDFC Bank, even if it comes down to like 4 times book from 6 times book, it's still overvalued, but that is likely to happen because otherwise only PSU banks would have come off, privates would have gone up. Now this participation of privates on the downside just means that the financial space may get a lower weightage from here.
I know this entire Fortis thing is dependent on news flow, but are there any important levels here to watch, Ashwini, on Fortis?
Well, the only good way of trading it is if it goes down to 140, you buy it, and for some reason there are big buyers there and they bring the price back to 155. Till now, whatever NCLT, etc. has done, I can't see any stock which has doubled or, some great outcome has come out of that. So I'm not sure what the results will show. Chances are there could be a bit of bad news because cleaning up may be done. So I don't think you want to mess around here unless you know what is happening. It's a good buy if it's down 8-10%, but not right now.
Okay, all right, fair enough, Ashwini. Thanks very much for that. Well, Ashwini's point is definitely taken. Just look at the kind of weakness that we're seeing for ICICI Bank despite that clarification which came in. So maybe there is concern in terms of the kind of exposure that they would probably have with regards to what's going on with Gitanjali. But they have made a clarification saying that they don't have exposure to the Nirav Modi group. And for Gitanjali Gems, they aren't the largest in terms of the exposure that the consortium has. That stock, however, still pressured down 3% and in fact slipping below its 100-day moving average as we speak.